Hi, and thanks for joining. My name is Ron Kehoe, and I'm a solutions architect with Tufin. And this is the second webinar of a series that's talking about eliminating manual firewall management tasks. And today we're talking about rule recertification, or rule lifecycle management as it's also known, and how Tufin can help automate that process. So without further ado, let's get started. So first thing is, really what is rule recertification or rule attestation? And also, why is it even needed? Let's take a look. First off, rule recertification is the practice of periodically doing a review of the security policies that are enforced in your organization on various network control devices. Typically, we see that through firewalls. Okay, so essentially, it's looking at the firewall rules and then having an authoritative party review the rules. And when we talk about authoritative party, that can either be the business owner. So for instance, if the firewall rules are supporting a HR initiative, then we'd go to HR and have them decide, the fate of these rules. And in some cases also it could be an application owner, right? So maybe you have a CMDB and we're able to identify the application owner who's responsible for the rules on the firewall. So it's a review of the rules by these people or groups, right? And then once the authoritative party has been presented with rules to review or to attest to, they're going to make a decision, right? And the decision is either going to be, they're going to say the rules are required, so the rules are still required, they're supporting a business function, or they're going to declare that the rules are no longer required. They aren't supporting a business function at all. And what happens next, right? So why we do this is by having this party do this review of the rules, it really allows ensures, I should say, that all the rules in your network security devices, and again, we think of firewalls traditionally, but it could be cloud ACLs or something similar. But essentially what we're doing is we're ensuring that the rules that are on these devices are actually serving a business function, right? That they are not just there, they're not legacy rules that nobody knows why they're there, that they are actually serving a function. And this is not a one and done. This is a periodic effort that you must go through to ensure that these rules are serving a function. Then beyond that, beyond just this being a best practice and something you should be doing, it also aligns with various compliance mandates, right? We see this within the payment card industry data security standard and also within the European Central Bank payment service directive. So, in some cases it's a best practice to do, but also in some cases you're mandated to do it, right? When we start taking a look at various compliance needs. So, if it's a mandate, why is it so hard? Why is rule recertification a difficult thing to do? And let's take a look at some of the issues when trying to do rule reviews. First one is, really it's about identifying the party, right? Who is responsible for the rules? How do we know that? How am I able to go through thousands and thousands of rules and find out who owns these rules so I can present them to that party to make a decision? So that's one thing, right? The other area here is to decide on which policies need to be updated and retained and which ones need to be disabled and removed, right? So again, it's one thing to have the party look at it, but then the other thing is to then decide on which ones need to be kept and which ones should be removed. And then finally, how to ensure that requested access is available only for the time it's required. Okay, this is something that's very important, is that when somebody requests an access, a new application being deployed, it's really important to monitor that and to know when that application's deadline is exceeded, right? When it's time, maybe that application's serving a temporary function, but when that application's time is due, to be able to timely go and get rid of the rules. So that's another challenge is, keeping track of thousands and thousands of rules and knowing down to each rule when its due date is, when its expiration date is. So also very important to deal with and very difficult through a manual process. So, Tufin has a solution to this, and it's an application that's included within our offering, and we call it the Rule Lifecycle Management app. And its purpose is to go through and basically help you to orchestrate the rule review process. So it uses what we do best, which is automation, to go through and do the rule review process through an automated means. It also enables collaboration across the organizations. So, typically it'll be perhaps information security or network security or network operations that will be collecting the data and then presenting it to the business owners to be able to go through and say whether or not they want the rules. So this allows us to have a single platform on which all participants can work on this recertification, which has traditionally been done through emails and emails going back and forth and saying, yes, I want these rules, no, I don't want these rules. And that's, it's hard to track, it's hard to get an audit trail from that, but it's also just not very efficient. So we provide that efficient platform for it. And then also, and this is probably one of the most important areas of this, is it allows for the automated mapping of rules to business owners, right? So we're able to automatically scan through all the rules and then identify who the business owner is so that that person can go through and make the recertification decisions. Okay, so now let's take a look at a real-world implementation and a case study of the rule recertification process. This particular customer was a top 20 multinational bank, and they were employing the use of spreadsheets and email messages as a means of doing their recertification process. As you can imagine, this is very inefficient, and as a result, they ended up with a over 12-month backlog in the review of their rules for their 4,000 rule set. They were struggling with this, and it was very, very difficult for them. So within 1 year of implementing Tufin, not only were they able to clear out that 12-month backlog, but more importantly, they were able to be more proactive in how they went about their recertification. And they got to a point where they were doing daily reviews of rules, looking for those rules that needed to be recertified, of course, through the automation that made it easy. But they went beyond that, right? They went beyond just recertification and did daily review of rules from a hygiene perspective, looking for rules that were maybe not hit or that were shadowed. And even from a compliance perspective, they were looking at rules that were not in alignment with their compliance mandates. So as a result of taking this proactive step and using the automation to be able to identify and also correct these issues, they were able to ensure that their backlogs were removed and they were also audit ready at any given moment in time. Great success story for this organization, and they continue to use the product very, very efficiently.